Here we go, making yogurt in the Instant Pot. Making yogurt, and then I will turn it into Greek yogurt. You'll see how I do that. Well, you can use just regular, and I would use whole milk. Whole milk, well, it's better for you anyway, and you need the fat to make really good yogurt. When I was using just store-bought milk, though, oh great, this is still kind of frozen. I'll work with that. The Greek yogurt tended to not get as thick. When I put it in the strainer, it would sort of just go through. If you want runny yogurt, that's fine. I like thick yogurt. I found that if I use at least a quart of raw milk, or I suppose organic milk would work for this. I buy raw milk and I freeze it in the freezer. Anyway, it turns out a lot thicker. If you don't have that, and you don't have organic milk, well, you could try. When I used to not use that, sometimes it would work, sometimes it would not. All right, that was 8 cups right there. So this cup mark on this thing, it is way off. I want to make a big batch today. So we'll put it up there. Doesn't really matter how much I use. It's frozen, so it's going to take a while to heat up. And so all it is right now is just we're heating the milk. Lid on, you hear it. We go down here to settings, yogurt, and we go to adjust. I want it to say boil. Okay. And that will take, normally it takes half an hour, but that's a big batch and some of it was really cold. It's going to take longer than that. And what I'm going to use for my yogurt starter, once this is heated up and I've cooled it down, I use a batch that I made a couple weeks ago. I started out with, let's see, I really like Meyer's brand Greek yogurt, or Faye I've used too. The Icelandic, which is not really a Greek yogurt, but it's called Skyr, or S-K-Y-R, something like that. That's really good also. I like that one as well. Right, as you see, it now says Yo9 to yoked, which means it's done. So I'll take the lid off. Well, first part is done. It's warm enough. All right, and it does sort of, oh, I have a special spoon for this too. It does sort of get a skin on top. I used to take that off. Now I just stir it in. I could unplug this. I just stir it, and the skin will pretty much disappear. If you notice, it was yellow on top. That is from the fat on the raw milk, or actually, it might be the protein of the raw milk. It's been a while since my food science class. All right, just for kicks, I'm going to show you what the temperature is of that right now, and then I've got some cold water going in the sink, and we're going to have to cool it off. So right now, let's see. Here's my thermometer probe in here. See how hot it brought it to 154. We're going to want to get this down to somewhere between 105 and 115, and it will take a couple changes of cold water in the sink. Whoa, okay. I'm thinking we wanted it at 180. Let's see what it did. Looks like 176, which is pretty close. I bought a set of monstrously large stainless steel bowls at where else but Costco, and they've come in handy, more handy than I thought they would, especially canning and freezing season. And for this, it's great. I'll stir this up a little bit. I will leave it here for a couple minutes, and then I will dump out that water, put in some colder water. I'm not even going to bother taking the temperature yet. It's still going to be way too warm. Remember, it started at 176, and I need to get it down to 115. Usually I go more like 105, 110. Let's see what it's at now. Over here, oh, we've cooled down. Oh, that's kind of funny. 122. We've cooled down to 122. Some of my yogurt that I'd saved from the last batch, I saved out, what is that, maybe 1/4 of a cup? It says 2 tablespoons, but I don't know. It doesn't. I like 1/4 of a cup. I like 1/4 of a cup. This is too thick. So when that milk over there cools down, I will stir in some of the 110, 115 degree milk until it's thin enough that I can stir this into the big batch. And without using another batch of water, I'm down to 111. Let's see if I stir it. Sometimes if it hits the edges, it goes down more. Stir it, and it still says, oh, we're good. We're good. And now I'll just mix in a little of that, the warmed milk. Stir that. A little bit more. A little bit more. Oh, and if I didn't mention it before, one really important thing is everything must be scrupulously clean. All right, you don't want to contaminate this yogurt with anything, or it will just decide not to live. Oh, and that's why that's why the milk has to be cooled down also below 115 or around 115. If it's too hot, you will kill those. This stuff is alive, okay? I mean, you can't see that it's living, but it's alive, and you will kill its life if you have the milk too hot. Let me scrape that out a little bit better and stir it. I wiped the rim off. You know what? There's a little bit too much water in this lid for me. Let me wipe that off. Remember, I only use this Instapot for yogurt. Okay, now we go down to the yogurt setting. Okay, that's what I used last time. That's not what I want this time. I go to adjust. And it's set for 8 hours, but I found out we've got a cat in the window. He likes to do that. Hey, don't want it on boil. Don't want it on 24 hours. It's set on 8. I don't want it on 8. I want it on 5 hours and 30 minutes. So you sort of have to, and that's all there is to it, sort of have to plan this. I have to plan it at a time when I am going to be home in 5 hours and 30 minutes. 5.5 hours later, we have yogurt. Take off the lid. Oh, but first, I'll pour myself some licorice tea. It's a cold, rainy day. Oh, this smells really good. All right, take the lid off. And it is nice and thick. This looks great. It is a little bit yellow on top. Again, that's from the really rich raw milk that I use part. Now, I'm going to put plastic wrap on it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then tomorrow I will show you my Greek yogurt strainers and how I strain that through there. There, I have a nice tight seal on that. And this is an extra step that I take, but I think that leaving it in the refrigerator until it gets cold seems to thicken it. And it's time to strain the yogurt. It's been in the refrigerator overnight. Take the plastic wrap off. Yeah, see how much it condenses a lot, but that's okay. That's going to go right through. If I have a small batch, I just use 2 of these Danviers, but I have a big batch this time, so I will also use the Euro Cuisine Greek strainer. Just got these from Walmart, or not from Walmart. They might have them, but got them off of Amazon. Just look up Greek yogurt strainer. This one seems like it's still not thick enough, so I usually end up transferring it then over to the other one. Let me show you the consistency of this now. Okay, sort of like, I don't know, custard, maybe? Let me pour that in there. And there we have it. I have both of these pretty much completely full. You'll be amazed. This will shrink to about half. And you'll be able to see when I take this out, either later this evening or tomorrow, how much whey is in the bottom there. And I'm ready to put these back in the refrigerator. Okay, it's been 9 hours. See how much whey is in there? Let's take these out of the refrigerator and see what they look like. This is going to be a judgment call. Okay, that one's nice and thick. Yeah, that one will take. This one, oh, that's not bad. I think we're going to call them both done. So I have a jar here, a couple jars. I've got a pint jar and a quart jar. Remember I said it loses about half. And I have them marked with today's date, December 1st, so that if I have a couple different batches in there, I will remember to use the old first. Let's just show you what the whey looks like under here. Let me get this scooped out first. Wow, that's nice. That is really thick. Really thick. What did I say that was? 9 hours? Yeah, 9 hours. Here's what the whey looks like. And shall I drink some of that for you to show you what it's like? Some people drink it. It's not a favorite of mine by any means, and I drink some pretty weird stuff. That yogurt was so thick, I'm going to have to help it push down there. It was so thick it didn't even stick to the bottom. All right, let's try some whey. This is what I use by the whey, pun intended. A couple tablespoons of this when I make my sauerkraut. On top of the sauerkraut, once I've cut it all up thin and put the salt on it, and it will help it ferment a little bit faster. Bottoms up. Well, we might as well down it. Not to brag, but this is beautiful. This is really nice yogurt this time. And I'm going to need another jar. And again, see how it was so nice and thick. See how clean that is? It just lifts right up. All right, one more jar. And this is the whey left over from the other one. This is perfectly clear. I've heard that people water their plants with it, or, oh, let's see, use it on your hair as a rinse. I've done that before. It's weird. You should try it. But there, I've got 2 quarts. Well, 2 pints in 1 quart. That's 2 quarts. I will put lids on this, put it in the refrigerator, and tight lids. Being really, really careful not to contaminate it. So like when I scoop some out, only using a clean spoon, stainless steel spoon. And this should keep in the refrigerator for a good 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks if it hasn't been opened. So I won't have to make this again for another couple of weeks. As far as how I use it, this stuff is thick, as you see. I use it instead of sour cream. I use it as a topping for lots of things. Mexican food. I've used it to make sauce for gyros, and then I use it on top of waffles, pancakes. Use it on soaked oats. Yeah, it's very, very useful. And that's today's video. I'm always happy when things turn out the way they're supposed to. You should have seen some of my failures before on this. They're pretty sad. But hey, we had good luck today. So until next time, ciao. This is Lori Fiechter with My Indiana Garden.